Hey guys, welcome to our newest episode of The Table. Tonight we're doing a Bulldogs preview after our 2019 championship run. Tonight I'll have Seth Ite and Anthony Brownfield with me, and we'll talk about the 2020 season and a lot more. All right, guys, so welcome to The Table. I have Anthony Brownfield and Seth Ite here with me. Three Bulldogs on the show today. It ought to get pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to talk about, we're coming off a 2019 championship win. It was a very, very, very fun season. I had a blast. We ended up beating the Warhawks 2-0 in the, we beat them 2-0 in the final three games at Eastside Center. Give me, Anthony, start with you. You kind of had a little bit of a slow start to last season. What was your overall feel on the season, I guess, last year?
It was definitely frustrating at the end of the year. I wasn't really hitting very well. It was just tough trying to keep that mindset to where it was like it can only go up from here. And then it started kind of flowing. And I think the turning point for my season was the walk-off against the Admirals. That pumped me up. That got me ready for the rest of the season. I think that carried for the rest of the way.
Seth, you started the season kind of rotating around at positions. We talked a little bit on the last show about how we had you playing some catcher, playing at first, stuff like this. You were in my ear all year about playing shortstop. We finally made the move to put you to shortstop. I thought you were too fat to play shortstop, but you proved me wrong. You did a great job there. What was it like making that transition to shortstop, and how did you deal with that kind of throughout the season?
Oh, 100% super fun. 100%. I was a catcher, first baseman, third baseman growing up, so I just thought, hey, just give me a chance.
And you're leaned out for the season now. You're ready to play short again.
Yeah, 215, 220 last year, around 208 this year. Kind of trying to get down to 200.
Lean
not for
and
the
mean.
league, but
Lean and mean.
not for the league.
So 19, obviously, we were able to win. Now, we didn't really have too many down parts of the season last year. Overall, we had a pretty good season. I want to know what you guys feel about this before I say anything, but did you guys feel like we had a chance to win the thing from the get-go? Or was it like when playoffs rolled around, you finally feel like we have something? Or where did you guys kind of fall into that category?
Honestly, pretty sure we went 2-0 the first weekend, and then we lost 2 in a row the next weekend. And I think we won like 5 out of the next 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of was like, okay, we're picking up momentum. We might actually have a chance to, at least get to the playoffs and make a deep run, and it worked out, and we ended up winning the championship.
And don't get me wrong, our team was pretty good at the beginning. But
Yeah.
we were pretty rough. We as Anthony said, he wasn't hitting well. We had a couple other people not hitting well.
Well, the airs were always huge
were bad.
for us.
Gage went down.
Yes, Gage's
And
injury was big.
I honestly didn't think we had a shot.
Yeah.
And then we won those 5 games in a row, and then it just kept going from there. And I think once Zach Hart hit a home run, I was like, oh my God,
We got
if he can
that
hit a
out the
home
way.
run, we can win a championship.
By the way, big shout out to Shea, because he stepped up huge last year.
That's what I was about to say. Gage went down. He was our top pitcher. Shea had to step up and start in his spot a lot last year. And, there's something about, and this goes with any sport, but there's something about you can watch a team and kind of get an idea of whether a team has it or not. Because you can see there's teams that have a lot of talent, but do they have, I guess, the personality and the core guys and stuff like that to get through the harder times to actually go through and win a championship? And there was a couple times last year against big teams. We were playing big teams like when if we beat the Minutemen, or a big win against the Warhawks or somebody like that. Or I remember specifically there was a game where Shootman pitched against us with the Admirals. Him and Gage both had pretty short outings, and it was time to dig deep for both teams, and we ended up winning the game. And so games like that, there was just little parts throughout the season where it was like, this team can do this. Like this, there's enough talent in the league where there's always 4 to 5 teams that truthfully have the roster to win the championship. But there's something different. You can see the walk-off come from behind victories, the stuff like that you just start to feel like this team can actually do it. And that's how I started to feel last year. And then, of course, you're winning with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th in the championship game, and you're still not sure till that final out's made. It's pretty nerve-wracking being in there. So 2019, we had a lot of fun. The team chemistry was through the roof, as it kind of always is for our guys. I think we have a very, very good core group of guys, personality-wise. I mean, you look like guys like Vince, who he's never going to miss a game.
No.
He's never in a bad mood. And my favorite thing probably about the personalities on our team, you can hang out in the dugout all day. You're not going to hear somebody say something negative to somebody else, really. I mean, even big moments that cost you a game, you're still getting a pat on the back and stuff like that. And we joke with each other a lot, but you don't really see somebody truthfully put somebody down after a bad play or anything like that.
Can I say something about Vince real quick?
Absolutely.
Follow him on Facebook. He makes the best.
Follow him for
barbecue
recipes.
Stuff.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He's a great cook.
Oh yeah.
His pulled brisket.
Follow.
It looks so good.
Follow Vince Robinson for recipes.
God bless him.
He is a very good cook. He's a very good
Doesn't
guy
look
to
like
have
it.
in the locker room. And I mean everybody from him to Bart to Justin and Brad goofing off. I mean, we have good personalities, and like I said, I think that I've seen. Have there been times where I've looked at other teams in the league and thought these guys have more talent than us? Yeah, like there's definitely been games where I'm like, I don't know if we can compete with this pitcher, or I don't know if we can keep up with these guys batting or something like this. But with the personality, like there's been plenty of times where we've been down 5 runs in a game, and we've gone, hey, we've been here before. Just keep, getting 1 run at a time, and then we end up pulling it off. So I think that's what, when I talk to some of these newer managers and stuff like that, that's the most important stuff. Is your team going to be able to perform whenever things get pretty tight? And I think that's something we did a really good job of last year. Now, speaking of things get tight and being kind of rough and have to pull yourself up, we lost some guys this year. Colin Allen, who was our other starting pitcher besides Gage, he was great last year. He will not be with us this year. He's done playing. And then we lost some of our guys like Chris Sonny, both the Purdue's. Sonny was a guy who brought a very unique talent to the league. He was fast. You could use him for specific things. You put him out in center field, he'd run down any ball, stuff like that.
Grandpa.
So,
Looking
yeah,
like 40.
Sonny sweatpants. So we lost him. Colin was a huge hit. Colin had a great batting average as well, and he was great on the bases.
Batted around
Pretty sure he
350.
put one out, didn't he?
Yes, he
Yeah,
did. He
put one
did.
out.
Batted around 350. Had almost double digits RBIs.
Yep. So losing, that's huge. Now to replace that, we've picked up a few guys. We have Steven Lawson, who is primarily a softball player. He subbed for the CICL last year, I believe, with the Warhawks for a game. Big power hitter, can play first base, is actually a very, very underrated catcher. That's what he played mostly when he was younger, and he'll be able to pitch a little bit for us. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table, another power hitter. I tell you what, between Matt, Brad, Steven, I mean, some of these guys, we got Seth, we got a pretty big team.
Anthony.
We also added another big guy, is Matt.
Godzilla.
He is,
My hand still hurts.
he's massive.
He is a big boy.
How big is he?
He's at least 6'4", 240.
Yeah.
He's just all
And
muscle.
All
he is-
muscle.
No body fat.
He looks like Brad.
And so we
It's
had
a
a
lot
practice.
more
We had a practice the other day, and we had Matt at third, and Gage was warming up, and then Brad came walking up like halfway through the practice, and Gage was like, "I thought Brad was at third the whole time." Like they have the same body type. And he's huge, and I tell you what, when he hits the ball, he looks angry at it. It was funny, we had the CICL practice, and he came walking up, and Britt was like, "Oh, hey, here's your left tackle again." And he's just a big kid.
Yeah, somebody else commented and said he's probably going to eat 2 people.
Yeah.
I'm saying at least 4.
If he gets hungry. So we have Matt, we have Steven, and then a kid who I haven't even met in person yet, but I'm excited to see, came straight from you, is your buddy Grant Glick.
Yeah.
He can pitch, he can play shortstop, he's very fast. A little bit of a slap hitter, kind of just get on base
No.
kind of guy, or does he have
No,
pretty
doubles.
good? Really, pretty
Doubles,
good stroke.
triples, yeah.
Is he? Can we compare him to like a Nick Castellanos? Kind of got good speed, got some good range, but also can put a little bit of power on it.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
You say he's pretty
I would
fast.
say more like Arcia, shortstop for the
Okay.
Brewers.
Yeah.
Hits
Who beats the
doubles, hits
Brewers?
singles, hits 290. I think Gray will do better than that. he quit playing sophomore year of high school, and
So another success story of wasn't ever probably going to play baseball again. And now,
he was a varsity pitcher. He was a varsity starting pitcher.
Yeah.
He didn't like the coaches and just decided that he wanted to do cross country and track instead.
I just love these stories of like guys like that and guys like Steven, and guys like Matt, that you're looking at 3 guys that we're bringing in this year that realistically were probably never going to play baseball again in their life, and now here they are getting ready to suit up and play some fast pitch baseball. I mean, that's what the league's all about. That's what's so cool about it. And I mean, that's where I started as well. I mean, I didn't play baseball after 8th grade year, you know what I mean? And I just played football and hockey, but I love the game of baseball, and this just gave me an opportunity to just come out and play. You know, that's what I like about it is, you know, it's funny, we were kind of talking about this before the show started, but we've been talking a lot on Facebook about the comparisons between the Peoria Sunday Morning League and the Central Illinois Champions League. And the Peoria Sunday Morning League is awesome because it's so historic. The guys that have been working on it for years and years. They know what they're doing, and it gives guys that played at a very competitive level a place to continue playing when they're done doing that. The CICL, obviously just like the Sunday Morning League, we're trying to put out the best product we can for our players, and we're trying to make sure that, you know, we provide anything we can to make it a fun experience and an enjoyable experience for them. But ours is more for like those guys that really there's no place for them to go play baseball probably. I mean, we got a lot of like Robert Morris University like club players. We got a lot of like Division III players, stuff like that. But we have a lot of guys that didn't even play in high school. That this gives them a chance to just play a game.
You know how I see it? So like when you're growing up, you've got Bronco League, blah, 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 all those different leagues. Well, then you get to a certain age where it's summer league, suburban ball, and then travel baseball.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me more of summer baseball. Like travel baseball is awesome. I love playing it, but most of your friends were playing summer baseball just
right.
because.
Well, that's what I love about the leagues is because if there was no Peoria Sunday Morning League, I wouldn't have a chance to play because all that talent would filter in, and then it filters me out, you know. So having the 2 leagues, both of them being competitive and being good at what they do, that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it so perfect. I mean, we just won the championship in our league, and I couldn't hit off most of the pitchers in Peoria Sunday Morning League at all.
I don't think you get it any.
I don't, truthfully, and I have no problem saying that. I'm not playing baseball because I'm super good at it. I'm playing it because I like it. Now, at the same time, do we have guys in our league that play both leagues, and do we have guys that can play in the Sunday Morning League? Sure, absolutely. But I'm not even top half guys on our team as far as I'm concerned. I just enjoy the game. So we were talking about that a little bit earlier today, and so I wanted to draw the comparison. But I think they're both great at what they do. They both are great for the area, and kind of having the other one there keeps the other one stronger because it keeps guys like me out of their league where I would just be wasting their time, and it keeps our league a place where guys that don't have much experience still have a chance to play besides kicking on their PlayStation every week, you know.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a debate. Both leagues are good.
Absolutely.
Final.
And that's coming from a guy that has played in both.
I think
Like
the better
both
term is just they're different. They're just,
Yeah, they offer something
different
different.
agendas.
Yeah, they
as far
offer
as the
something
league is.
different. Absolutely. Okay, so we talked a little bit about our run in 2019. We talked a little bit about the guys that have dropped off, the guys that we've added. I want to kick away from the Bulldogs for a second and talk about the rest of the league. I don't want this to be all Bulldogs, even though it is all Bulldogs here. What teams are you excited about seeing this year? Who are you excited to play?
Minutemen.
That's our division rival.
Minutemen.
Absolutely. With no Joe Rush this year.
With no Joe Rush, that's fine. I think I went 5 for 5 off of him last year in one game. I mean, he struck me out the other times we played. I just wanted to
throw that in there.
Little notch.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. They've retooled though big time.
They retooled. They got Ryan Slusher from East Peoria. He's a catcher for him. I think Joe told me he's playing shortstop for him. He's a good acquisition. The one kid that was on your show, Peyton. I've never seen him play. You've told me good things about him.
So let me hit you with this real quick for the Minutemen. This is what we have to look forward to playing a lot this year. We have Raby, who cranks home runs. This new kid that you saw in practice, Alex.
15 home runs.
He's calling 15 home runs as the over-under for Alex.
Yep.
Says he's good.
100%. Lefty, he played at a D1 NAIA school.
He's got
I'm calling it.
Peyton, who is essentially going to replace Joe on the mound and still be pretty good at the plate. And then you got Chase Paul behind the plate, who isn't a guy that a lot of people bring up, but he played on a team that was like missing guys a lot and stuff like that last year.
They never had one show up.
What team was that?
The Venom. I think when you see Chase Paul be surrounded by this kind of talent on the Minutemen, I think you're going to see him do a lot better because of that. So I think he'll be good this year. You have Cole Hartley coming back on the mound, which is a guy who can always go in and deliver and throw strikes. That's what you need in this league. I mean, they have a lot of talent on that team. And it's, I mean, clearly it's to get ready for the Bulldogs, but, you know.
I do have one story about Chase. So,
yeah.
As most people know, I umpired the league a lot throughout the season, and I was umpiring a game last year. It was like 98 degrees, and they had a doubleheader in basically the second game and the third game. So it was like the hottest part of the day. And I seen this guy go over Chase, puke in the garbage can 3 different times during an inning. He called time and says, "Can I go puke?" And he went and puked, and he came back and he caught the rest of the game.
He's a competitor.
That just shows heart, and I gained a lot of respect for him that day.
And, I mean, especially to do that on a team that was somewhat unorganized last year and back and forth, I mean, I think being on the Minutemen is just going to light a fire for him. I think he's going to have a very good season. I think he could have a breakout year. Maybe not necessarily like MVP numbers, but that's a very, very talented team, and he could be a top 4, top 5 player on that team. And that's not a knock to Chase. That's a very, very that's a powerhouse team. Who else? Who else are you excited to see?
I don't want to knock anybody else. I want to see the Admirals again. I want to face Travis Shootman again. I talked to him a little bit at our last practice, but I want to see the Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new team.
Well, it's always fun to see the new team, see what they bring to the table.
Well, yeah, because I mean, look at the Warhawks last year, where we didn't know what to expect at all, and they ended up right in the championship. I mean,
they came out just winning games, and we're like, okay, they're winning a few games, and then they keep winning. It's like, these guys are for real. I mean, they got talent. That's
what's kind of nice about the Kings, and that's why I want to get them on here last episode to let them kind of talk about what they're bringing to the table and stuff like that, pun intended, because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, and I know Chris really well, the guy who's managing them, and I've been trying to talk to him as much as possible, be in his ear as much as possible. Just it's his team, and I want him to run it how he wants, but I just want to be there for any advice that he needs and stuff like that to help push his team in the right direction, because at the end of the day, we've talked about this several times, it's about the league more than it's about your team. So I'm excited to see them. I gotta be honest, I love their logos. I'm excited to see what their jerseys look like, stuff like that. I'm glad you brought up the Admirals, because Trenton Black, who's run that team, is a passionate dude.
He's dedicated.
Yes, he absolutely loves the league. I love everything about this guy. They're going to have a ball club too, because he is not, I promise you, that guy's not half-assing anything about this. He is all the way in. So I mean, he was already, essentially what happened is the Admirals weren't too sure if they were going to play again. Some of the guys like Shootman in them. So Trenton stepped in, said he would run the team. He built up about half of a roster that was a pretty good roster, and then Shootman and Barbie and those guys from the team that were good were like, we think we're going to go ahead and play, and came back. So I mean, he built up half of a good roster and then brought back the other good half from the Admirals from last year. They're no joke either. No. Tell you one team to look out for this year, and I brought this up last episode, is the Armor.
Yeah, definitely.
We talked about this as a team last year, that because we lost to the Armor, and it was one of their first wins of the season, and it was because they weren't winning games and everybody was kind of overlooking them, and Joe, who obviously goes to every game, was kind of in everybody's ear, and he was like, hey, watch out for this team, because when they have everybody there, they're very good. They just don't always have everybody there. This year, I think Joe, first off, with how hard it is to get everybody there, all the credit in the world to him to staying on and being on for a second year, and instead of kind of saying, that was really tough, and it's just not for some people. But for him to stay in a second year and just keep building his team, my hat's off to him, all the credit to him. And now he's got more help with Hurst over there helping. I mean, that's going to be a very, very dangerous team, because I see them showing up a lot more consistently this year. I mean,
it's a limestone team, and they've got 11 limestone guys.
Yeah, they literally have a limestone team.
They're going to have that chemistry that.
It's very cool. It's very cool. We've talked a little bit about possible matchups in the championship, and one of the possible matchups. We kind of were talking about teams outside of our own, obviously, and one of the matchups I was talking about was the Armor Admirals was a potential matchup that I could see because that's two tough teams, and the Minutemen are right up there as well, obviously. So,
who do you have
in the championship?
No, just your team
to watch out for.
Oh,
since Seth took 3.
I was actually going to say the Warhawks only because
the Admirals, Minutemen.
I didn't want to knock the Admirals because they're good. I just wanted to
continue.
But I was actually going to go with the Warhawks only because of the acquisitions of Kyle Spies, who's obviously one of the best pitchers in the league.
And I think, I want to say, I don't know his name, but I want to say Chris Bloomberg picked up another pitcher for their team too. I think they saw...
Matt Barnes.
Yeah.
His name, Matt Barnes, yep.
They saw in the championship game, so something that we had to over-prepare for more than other teams was the double headers because we're the only team that did that. So our pitching was pretty deep because we knew we had to do that. So then we got to the championship game. That was kind of the first time they really played a doubleheader, and then it was something we were a lot more prepared for than they were just because we had to deal with it. So we knew we had the pitching depth. I knew exactly how I wanted to use the pitcher, stuff like that. After seeing that last year, now Chris has retooled his pitching rotation to prepare for that. And I think a lot of teams saw that. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot more teams that actually truly have that 5th and 6th guy that can pitch and not just come out there and try to throw strikes. Right. I think the depth of the pitching rotations is going to be what's more impressive this year.
Definitely. It's going to be a lot tougher to hit, so we're going to have to really focus and just stay confident.
Yeah, you can't. It's not going to be just rile off 15 runs over the last 2 innings and make a huge comeback. I think you're going to see a lot more of like we saw in the playoffs last year, where a lot of scores were 3-1, 3-2, awesome. 4-1. Like those, I think those are going to be at the start of the year. It's always a little rough, but I mean those are more of the scores you're going to see this year.
The grindy games.
Absolutely, I think it's going to be. I think a lot more games are going to come down to the closer this year, which is good baseball. I'm excited to see it.
And we got the best.
I do feel good about Bart. I feel good about our depth this year. We still have... There's some question marks around our pitching just because there's a lot of new guys in the lineup. So we have Gage returning, which we know what Gage can bring. We have Shea returning. We know what Shea can bring. We have you come back to pitch in a little bit more of a pitching role this year. Still going to be 1 or 2 innings at most per game. And then we have Bart closing. We know those guys. But... what is Grant Glick really going to bring to the table? What is Steven Lawson really going to bring to the table? What is Matt really going to bring to the table? Those are the guys where we got to figure out quick what they're going to do. Because even last year, there were times when he would show, Patrick Perdue was a pretty good pitcher. Yeah. I mean, that was somebody that actually we could rely on that nobody, I don't think, really knew him that well. And replacing him isn't just no big deal. I mean, that was a part of that depth that we had to where when Gage went down, we could rely on guys like that to get innings out of.
Well, I remember specifically a doubleheader where we started Colin the first game, and then you threw Shea after to get that lefty-righty matchup, and then it was really huge for Patrick to be able to pitch because then we would have or I think it was Colin and then Bart, and then Shea started the second one, and then we had the lefty
and then
throw.
be able to bring in Patrick after that. Yeah.
And I think that's our biggest thing this year with Steven too is he's a big lefty. He can throw hard, and I think that's going to really help. I'm
excited to see how Steven does this year. He is a very, very good softball player. He absolutely loves the game of baseball. He's been blowing me up, excited about playing this year. For the last 2 years, he's asked to play, but I mean, we were maybe halfway through last year, and he was like, next year's the year. He's like, next year I'm doing it. He goes, every Sunday I'll be there. You can count on me. Let's roll. And so I'm excited for him to finally get out there and, really put some heat on some pitches.
Because he subbed for us in the KVL our very first year.
He did. He pitched for us in the KVL against the Morton team our first year. He did really good. And then he subbed for the Warhawks last year. We make it to where the subs can't pitch, which I think is a very good rule. And so he just batted a few times for the Warhawks, and I know he's excited to get out there. I'm excited to see what he can do, putting together a full preseason of training for baseball and not just coming out at 10 a.m. one morning to head
Makes
out there.
Makes a huge difference, for sure.
One thing I do want you to touch on, Anthony, talk to us a little bit about what you and Danny are doing with the umpires this year.
So it's me, Danny, and Joe. Joe is actually helping us out a lot. Basically, he sent me and Danny a schedule of every single game and basically like what slots needed covered for umpires. And this year we're getting all patched high school umpires. So some newer officials, and we're getting some more experienced officials. We're going to kind of try to switch it up. But our goal this year is to make sure that every game has 2 patch officials. We don't really want to have Joe have to umpire at all.
Right.
That's the big key this year. Obviously, there may be times where Joe might have to fill in for a game. It happens. But as far as everything goes, Joe's done a really good job with creating a budget for us to be able to get 2 patched umpires every time, because that was the biggest issue last year. So with guys getting upset because we didn't have legitimate umpires, and I think that's the one thing this league was missing as far as stability and consistency as far as games go, of the calls being not, maybe they're always going to be a little skewed. But
well, and that's what we noticed when we were talking to players over the off season, is there wasn't really this big contrast between, hey, like, these umpires are so much better than these umpires, or stuff like this. It was more just about consistency.
Definitely.
It was more just like, we want all the umpires on the same page. We want to make sure they have the same rules and everything as the league and stuff like that. That's kind of what they were lacking. That's kind of what it was. So to bring some consistency, I think we have a good game plan for it this year, to bring some consistency to it. I think Joe has put the right guys in charge with you and Danny and him obviously as well. I think that you guys all have the right idea and everybody's kind of moving in the right direction. It's the first year kind of trying this out, so I think it'll be successful. But to think it's going to be perfect,
I mean, it's not
perfect. We're still going to tweak it and stuff like that, which is understandable. But I'm excited to see how it works out. I'm excited to see you guys put that into effect and be able to kind of put that to rest and move on. So that's, we talk a lot about keeping this league as professional as we can and bringing that professionalism to it. And I think that's going to be a big part of it. So I'm excited about that. So I'm glad you guys are doing that. Now, talking about us specifically, gearing up for this next season, what we talk a lot with our team about kind of our mindset. We're big on our team chemistry. We're big on team morale, stuff like that. What is your guys' mindset heading into this season about trying to repeat this year, personally as a player?
Make fun of everyone.
You gotta be louder.
Make fun of everyone.
Okay, let's play the mind game a little bit.
With our own team.
Okay.
That's what I did last year.
It keeps morale up.
It does.
We got good team bonding. We have fun. It keeps team chemistry up. It's very much like a brotherhood kind of thing, in there. That's, as funny as it sounds, it truly is kind of the good way to set the tone and the atmosphere in the locker room or in the dugout, so to speak.
Especially since we're all such a tight knit group. Like,
Yeah.
we know it's literally all in just the situation. It's not anything personal.
That's
it's just all
I tell you,
fun.
the biggest thing when Seth will bring up a guy to bring on the team, the first thing I'll ask is, hey, will he get along with the rest of the guys on the team? And then the second thing I ask is, will he be able to make every game? And then the third thing I ask is, okay, how talented is he? That's what we focus on. That's the biggest thing. Anthony, for yourself as a player, what are your focuses on for this season?
So like I was explaining earlier about how I started out slow, it was really frustrating, and you've seen it firsthand as a manager. I would get in my own head, I would get discouraged, and it's nice to have a dugout where you come back and it's not like, you idiot, why'd you strike out? It's like, you'll get it next time. And it just really helped me get in the mindset of basically correcting what my mistakes were and just getting better and helping the team.
Yeah, I think for me, I know a big thing for me this year, obviously from a manager standpoint, one thing I've been thinking about a lot is just us taking everything one game at a time. That's the biggest thing to me. It's very, very easy whenever you either just won a championship or just came short of a championship or something like that to go into the mentality right off the bat is that we're going to be better than everybody because we just won, or just thinking about the championship from game one. We lost in the playoffs last year, or the year before, and all I would talk about is don't think about just getting back there. Just because we made it that far the year before doesn't mean we're just going to get back there and then we go farther. That's not how it works. So with the championship, we don't just get to go back to the championship because we're there. We don't get to just focus on that. It's a whole new season. We have to take it one game at a time. I think we went into last year where we still lost a lot of games the previous season.
8-12.
Yeah, and so we went into last year where every win meant something. Like every time we'd win a game, it was like, we got one, good. I don't want the team to get in that mindset where we are just like
gonna steamroll everybody.
Yeah,
right?
like
it's
we
not
can.
That way this year.
Not only is it not, it's not that way just because you just came off a successful season, but also this league has gotten a lot more talented this year. Even if we were coming back and facing the same teams we played last year, you can't have that mentality. No. But you add on the fact that everybody's retooled, everybody's got a little bit more talented. If we go into it just thinking, hey, let's just rally off these next 6 wins and no big deal. No, it's going to be one game at a time. How do we win each situation, each play, stuff like that. I mean, we talked about this a lot last year, but we like to not talk about winning. We like to talk about doing the little things right on each play, and that will equal winning. There's no reason to talk about winning the game because you can't just go out there and win the game. You can go out there and make good plays on defense. You can go out there and have good at-bats. You can go out there and be smart on the bases. That's going to equal winning. Definitely. That's how we need to think about it and keep it in mind. So keeping guys from getting too ahead of themselves with how confident we are. Luckily, I don't think we'll have that much of a problem because we do have a very good group that I don't think they have a bunch of issues with that kind of mentality. So I think we'll be able to keep everybody pretty level-headed, especially with bringing in the new guys. There's still a lot of question marks around our team, but I'm excited to see what we can do this year. So we just got to have the right mentality. Yep. That's what it's all about. That's what's won us games in the past.
Well, because, I mean, how many runs did we win by total on that championship day? I mean,
not a bunch.
4,
yeah.
3.
I mean, especially that last game, it was tight. It was 2-1, I think, was the final score. And
I think somebody hit a double off of the wall that ended up winning us the game.
Was it you?
Was that me?
I think that was his first hit.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so no, there were 2 very close games. And I mean, really, you get one bad mistake on the base path. You get out of your head. You know, you win that first game and you think we got the second one. It
wasn't like that at all.
You can get into quicksand quick. No, it was like we got done with that first game. We were like, all right, let's stay focused. Let's focus on the next one. And realistically, we were like that all season long with the doubleheaders. I mean, we never felt like we were going to roll past the team. I think taking like a loss to a team like the Armor, whenever it was one of their early wins, even though they were a very talented team.
They were like 0-6 at the time.
Yeah, I think that's actually was almost kind of good for us because it's like, okay, pump the brakes. It was a good like pump the brakes, get focused, and this isn't just going to be handed to you because you've won 4 games straight. Right. There's been a lot of teams in this league. Look at the Minutemen where they consistently win a good amount of games. They finish first or second in the division every year, and they haven't been able to win a championship because if you slip up a little bit, this is a very talented league, and it can get out of control pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So, is there anything specifically you guys want to talk about before we wrap up the show? We're sitting at about a half an hour now.
So one thing I wanted to bring up was my championship MVP. I feel like it was a lot of ours, was Justin.
For that championship huge day, plays.
The one play that sticks out to me, and I'm only a little biased because I was playing first base, but it was I don't know if you remember the play where Justin moved over and it went off his chest and had a runner on third with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Well, he instead of just kind of just not going for it and just kind of pouting, he basically hustled to it and then he threw it and it was in the dirt and I happened to pick it and it saved a run, and that to me was the biggest play of the championship round for me.
I'm really, really excited to see him this year. We had a practice this week that he looked very, very good at. He is a prime example of a guy who knew nothing about baseball really coming into it as far as playing. And when we first went out there, like a lot of us, you could see that. I mean, you could see he hadn't played baseball his whole life and stuff like that. And there's some fundamentals and stuff that he really had to get down. But we were just talking about it last practice. Even though, don't get me wrong, can you still tell the difference between him and a guy that played all the way through high school and played college and stuff? No. Of course. That's how all of us that didn't do that, that's how we are. But his hustle and his want to be good at second base right now and his attitude coming into this season so far, I'm excited to see what he can do because he is an all or nothing kind of guy. And I mean, you can tell, even if a little bit of it is kind of just like he's kind of over the top, he's on it at second right now. I mean, we had a couple plays at practice where he was making some good plays with the glove, but there was a couple times just like that where he's running after it hard. He maybe makes a mistake and it hits his chest or hits off his arm instead of the glove or something. But, I mean, he's getting off the ground and getting it over there. I mean, he cares about doing good right now. He has a lot of confidence from how he finished out last year. And so that's what I'm excited to see. We've talked about this a lot. Do we have the guys that are on our team that are like Seth and like Shay and like Gage, that these guys know that Bart, that know the game of baseball and can play the game of baseball well? Absolutely. But do we have the guys like Brad, who really hasn't played baseball in a very long time? Me, Justin, Vince, those guys stepping up and playing better baseball and bringing that bottom up to where it would be at the middle of a lot of other teams, that's what makes the difference. I mean, our first year, there was times where if we stacked a certain 3 guys together, we were giving them a free inning, and it's really not like that on our roster anymore.
Brad definitely surprised me at third base last year. He stepped up, and he was huge for us at third.
Our whole team defensively looked a lot different because that was my biggest concern is we had so many errors the first season, and even the start of the second season, we had a ton of errors. And in the playoffs, I mean, it was pretty clean baseball
from everybody.
Yeah, from every team. I mean, it was really, really saw some pretty impressive baseball throughout the playoffs. So I'm excited to see what every team brings to the table this year. I think that everybody is going to be more talented than what they were last year. I think the new teams are going to bring something different to the table that we're maybe not even prepared for because we haven't seen them yet. I'm excited to see teams like the Admirals bounce back. I'm excited to see the Armor retool. And obviously, I think there's going to be some good matchups between us and the Minutemen this year. And it's going to be a fun season. Obviously, we're going to have you guys back on throughout the year, talk to you more. I'm sure we'll see a few times you guys for the player of the game throughout the season. So sure we'll see you guys on there. So thanks for being on. This was our newest episode of The Table. Look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe for all future videos. Thanks.